Well, it's day 6 of our Seeing Jesus challenge, and today's reading focused on the Samaritans, the citizens of the village that Jesus had stopped at, where he had the conversation with the woman at the well. And when they had finished their conversation and he had changed her life, she went into the village and told the others about her experience, and they were curious, and so they came out to find Jesus and to speak with him. And when I read the story of the Samaritans, a couple of things strike me. The first is that they were just going about their day. They were just going about their everyday routine. They weren't necessarily sitting around thinking about spiritual things and trying to be religious. They were just living life. The women got up and went to the well early and then came back to their homes and did what they did every day. They took care of their kids, and they prepared the meals, and they cleaned the house and whatever other responsibilities they had. And the men got up and they went off to work, and they did the things they had to do during the day. And so nobody was sitting around necessarily being really religious. They were just living life like most of us do every day. We just live life. We go about our routines. We go about the things that we have to do every day. But in the midst of the routine, the thing that strikes me second is that Jesus shows up. Jesus comes to them, and he makes himself known first to this woman, and then through her to the rest of the town. And they're curious, and they come out to see Jesus, and they have a conversation with him. And after just a few minutes of that conversation, they ask him to stay. They sense something different. They're curious about the message that he has, and they don't want to miss it. And so they ask him to stay. And the scripture tells us that Jesus stayed for 2 days. And when I read that, it says this: he stayed for 2 days, which meant for 2 days they listened to him. They stopped what they were doing. They interrupted their lives. They maybe didn't go to work, and they set aside some of the things they had to do at home and only did the necessities. And for 2 days they gave Jesus their attention. Because think about it, if they weren't going to listen, there was no reason for him to stay. The fact that he stays says that he had a willing audience. He had someone who was wanting to learn and hear from him. And so he stays and he teaches them, and they listen. And here's the point of all this day as we think about the Samaritans. It's this: seeing Jesus, experiencing Jesus in our life takes time. It just doesn't happen. It takes time. We have to be involved, and it involves two things from us. First of all, it means that we have to be willing to slow down. We get so busy living life. We get so busy with the routines. We get so busy doing the things that they're important things. Going to work is important. Taking care of our family is important. Making sure there's food on the table is important. So much of what we do is important stuff, but we get so busy doing those things that God gets pushed to the background, and we don't see God because we're not looking for God, because we hadn't slowed down long enough to see. I remember years ago when I lived in South Louisiana, and we had a road that we had to travel a lot to go to the hospital, and somewhere along the line they had taken that stretch of highway that we were on, and they changed the speed limit. And I can't tell you how many people from our little area, little community, got speeding tickets because nobody noticed the change. We just went along that stretch of road. We did it every day. Nobody thought anything about it. And then it got changed, and all of a sudden people were getting stopped and pulled over for speeding because we didn't notice something that happened because we were just too busy going. And I think a lot of times in life we're just too busy going to see God. And we need to slow down. We need to take some time to pay attention to what God is doing, not only in the big things in our lives, but in the little things of life. And the second thing about seeing Jesus and it taking time, not only do we need to slow down, but when God shows up, we need to make sure he's the priority. We need to give him first place. We don't need to give him the leftovers. We don't give him the time that we have when we've used all the time we want to do for other things. We don't need to give him our energy and our attention that's left over at the end of the day. We need to give him what's first. We need to give him what's best. And that way we'll make sure that we see him. So as you go about your day to day, slow down. Take some time to pay attention to the things around us so that you see God in the areas that he's working in your life. And when you see God, give him the priority. Make him first. Don't run past it. Don't run through it. But stop and enjoy the presence of God in your life. Have a great day.